What up, folks? I am Ultrazilla, and today I have a review of the Bandai Tamashii Nations SH MONSTERARTS Godzilla X Kong The New Empire Godzilla 2024 Evolved version from Godzilla X Kong The New Empire. Mouthful. It's Godzilla Evolved. It's the SH MONSTERARTS Godzilla Evolved. And if you saw my unboxing this week, you know I have two of these, but I didn't want to take out two boxes for this opening. One box is enough for the opening, and it's a nice box. There's a lot of pink on there. We like pink here on the channel, and magenta and all of that. And this is a nice box, and I like Godzilla Evolved. I think it's a really, really cool design. But yeah, I have two of these, and thanks to Entertainment Earth, I was able to open two of these, so I really appreciate it. My bad to start. I had mistakenly ordered two because I forgot I put in a pre-order there, and then I went ahead and ordered it when it was in stock. So good on me. But then, you know, I unboxed one. It had some imperfections, some issues that I really felt like, hey, you know what? I have two here. This would be the sort of thing that I would try to exchange. So I contacted them and I was like, hey, look, these are my issues. There was three specific ones. And again, you can check out my unboxing if you'd like. But, you know, we're going to go over everything here because we're gonna take a look. We are going to have the advantage of having two of these in hand. So we could look at like various variances that happen in a production line, which is what I'm always talking about. You know, I'm not here to cherry pick one or the other. I don't do that. You know, that's like a thing. And I'm not, you know, always here to, you know, sing the praises of this stuff. Like, I have a long history of having good and bad monster arts. And that is because there is a ton of things that can happen in a production line. And I always say that. And tonight, on this review, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about, because the good one is one of the best figures of the year. So without any further ado, let's get to the review. So here are our two Godzilla Evolves. I wasn't kidding, there's two out of the package, and this is the first one that I open, and the one that I will be returning right after this. And I want to point out what's wrong with this, and then we're going to move on to the review proper with what I just called possibly the best figure of the year. However, it's not without its faults too. There is a little QC on that one, but it's not so bad. Here, I had three specific issues with this one. And the first one, and this, I think, in the long run, might be the worst one of the three. This has a... Now, we know SH MONSTERARTS gets gappy sometimes. But a couple of, like, spots on this one, it feels like the plastic warped a little bit outwards. You see how this knee is, like, gapping like that? The other one doesn't quite have it the same way. And we'll look at that a little closer. There is a gap here that's, like, unnatural. And it wasn't just me. I showed my wife, and I was just like, hey, This is odd, right? Like, it doesn't, like, go all the way back. So the other thing is, and I'm not going to attempt the face here because I don't want to deal with it. And you guys saw it on my unboxing. Again, that unboxing is probably one of the more important unboxings I've had because of this stuff. One of these joints, I believe it's this one right here. Something's going on. It's in there now, but every time I popped it in, like, it would just pop out. Like, it literally, like, shot it out. So something weird and wacky is going on with that joint. More so than other tail joints, and you guys know I've dealt with so much of this stuff on the channel. You know, yeah, that. And then the third thing, which is, for me, like, one of those, like, real, pet peeves, is, and I've seen worse, it's actually two separate things, so we're gonna zoom in. And because of my lighting, I'm not sure how well you're gonna see it, but like, you get in natural light, you see it right away. This guy has a little light pink glob on his nose. It's so hard to see in this lighting. Oh, well, you might see it now. Like, it is right above the lip there, but it is, like, if you see it in regular light and, like, natural light and stuff, it's, like, glaring. Like, but it's right there. And again, I've seen worse. I've seen a worse on this stuff. And this stuff has to be called out. You know, like, you can't just dismiss this stuff because you could fix it. That's not how reviewing works, guys. Why do I have to teach folks how to review? It's crazy. And then on the mouth, the teeth, for some reason, go... It's not the paint, but like the teeth itself just go down really far on this side. And as you can see on the other side, it's just kind of normal there. So, you know, there's a few issues there. It's not like the worst things in the world, but the fact that I have 2 of these here, you know, again, this is returnable defects, you know, like, and be aware that when you buy stuff from a store that has a return policy, check out their return policy. Because, you know, like, for all the complaining that fans do, I don't think enough of you use those return policies the way you're supposed to. Like, if you have defects, take pictures of it, you know, send it to the store, and you could possibly get an exchange or whatever. You know, in my case, I already had a return on this stuff. I already had printed out my return because I mistakenly ordered 2. Now, the other thing here is, for the one thing that I noticed paint-wise, I do have a little bit of gray that bled over on the dorsal fin there. That's like the only one that I really saw. Maybe we'll see more as we do the review, but that little thing was glaring to me. But it's not, I'd much rather have a perfect face. And now the other major thing to talk about is the paint variance throughout the body. In general, this guy has more paint all over than this one does. If you look at this, you know, you see some of the paint coming out, right? Especially like on the sides there. But it's mostly gray. And now when you look at this, look at you can see right away on the legs. Look at how the legs barely have any paint on this one. The legs are almost fully painted on this other one. You know, so it's gonna vary. These things, individual results are gonna vary. And another major area is on the face, like on the jaw. This one that I'm keeping, like, has a lot of nice paint on the bottom jaw. That same kind of colorization. And this one has none. This one has some. So that continues nicely from up through the body, up to the jaw. And that just brings out, look at how much detail it brings out. That little bit of paint there compared to this one. So, and even in the front you can see it. Let's see. See that? Oh, focus. Yeah. So yeah, there's that. As far as eyes go, I believe both of them are decent on mine. So no real worries there. You know, it's totally fine. Focus. Come on. Yeah, so they're pretty much perfectly fine as far as the paint goes. So as far as, you know, the variance of the 2, there is quite a bit. Like, Ultrazilla Jr. thinks there's more pink paint on the first one's head, and he might be right there. But there is pink paint on the other one too, so it might just be a little lighter, and it might be because there's more of that yellowish paint on the bottom of it. I'm totally fine, again, with keeping this one because it doesn't have some of the other issues I saw with this first one that I opened. And there you go. I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to like get too crazy with the articulation and stuff on this one because, you know, I'm sending it back. So I want to keep it as fine as possible. But there you go. Two different but the same SH MONSTERARTS. And that's what I'm saying every time. Like, this is going to be one of those things where, you know, like, individual results are gonna vary. And, you know, we always get a ton of complaining online. But you got to think about the amount of complaining, count the amount of complaints versus the amount of no complaints. There are thousands of pieces in a production line. You got to think about that, guys. You really do. So let's have a look at this guy in full, the one we are keeping. Because at the end of the day, you know, the full review has got to be on one figure, not an aggregate of figures. And I said that at the top, and I mean that. That's like, you know, very, very important. You know, you shouldn't be picking and choosing different aspects of what, you know, what's better or worse on a figure. At the end of the day, you're supposed to be reviewing a figure to give your, you know, exact thoughts on that figure. So we're going to do that now. You know, we've seen the two that I have in hand, saw the variants, but now we're going to get down to the nitty gritty. And we'll start out at that head because it's very interesting. The eyes look pretty good. The mouth is pretty good. I like the teeth on this one. Also, there's no, you know, that weird thing that's going on the other one is not happening here. It's like perfectly shaped. So that's very nice. It looks good. The inside of the mouth has a nice pink tongue. Got sinewy bits in pinkish. So that's pretty good there. Snout looks good. His eye ridge is pretty good. Like I was saying, I do have less pink. I do have some more pink on this side. I feel like it's less coming through on this side. Kind of stops a little higher than this, but that's not bothering me at all. You know, I think that's pretty fine, honestly. Not the biggest of deals there. Now, the jaw, again, has a nice amount of paint, which is great. It really brings out, you know, a lot of detail. And maybe folks don't like that, you know, and that's fine, too. Like, you know, I mean, we're all different, right? Like, we have various things that we like and dislike, but I think that brings out all the details a lot better than it just being gray. The neck looks good. That's mostly gray. And then you got more of the pink, you know, coming up from the head here. But you also can see that yellowish over the head as well on this. And then you got the pink going down the body a little bit, which looks pretty good. And then you get to the dorsals. And the dorsals are really, really nice. And they are translucent, and I know there's a lot of talk about this, but they are translucent, even though I guess they weren't supposed to be. But they are, and I think that, you know, at least these top ones up here, you know. But I think that looks pretty good throughout. I love the pink dorsal fins. I think they look fantastic. And, you know, I like how, you know, it bleeds upwards. And that's why I don't really care about this, like, one little thing over here. That's like, you know, the way it's done is, like, kind of conducive to, like, you know, it being more naturalistic in a way. So great sculpt throughout. I mean, I think these dorsals came out really, really good. And then, you know, on the side of the dorsals, you know, you get all of this work over here, which looks fantastic. You know, and I think it looks really, really good. Beautiful sculpt work. And, you know, again, those yellows just bring out all of the detail. There's like the tail, you know, the bottom of the tail here. If we could focus, be nice. All the way to the end. I love the little spiked tail. Looks really good. Came out awesome. So that is very good. Then moving over to the legs, as I mentioned earlier, lots of detail and a lot of paint. And I think it looks really, really nice. Everything is highlighted well. Going down to the feet. Looks pretty good. Like how the toenails look. painted well. Again, you got that kind of yellowish that bleeds right into the black. Very well done. I think that's very contrasting to the other figure too. Yeah, that's about the same. I feel like there might be more black on this first one, but this looks fantastic. And again, look at like the knees. The knees, like, just, you know, stay flush. This is what I was talking about, compared to what I got going on here, and they're like posed the same. See that? So yeah, that's a defect. Bottom of feet is that, and then, you know, the back of the leg even has paint. All of this, thighs, front of the feet, scooties. He's got the scooties. He's got the osteos all over. He looks good. The belly looks really good. Krajiji section. It's not pointy or anything. He lost a point, which is good. And then ribs and stuff look awesome. A lot of like folds and wrinkles. And again, that paint really helps out, which looks really fantastic. The chest is not overdone. Like, it looks pretty good, you know? I got maybe a little more yellow on one side than the other. Whereas the first one, I think, it's pretty faint on this one too. So, like, you know, it's a little bit different on each, but it looks good on both. There's nothing like egregious about it. So I do like it. The arms look pretty good too. You got the little spikes on the back, little fins. Not super painted on this one. I mean, like, super thickly painted. But you get it. You get what it's supposed to be. Little pink on there, on both sides. Hands look pretty good. We do get an alternate pair of hands, which we'll look at in a second. But these hands look pretty good. Yeah, and I like how they sit, you know, his shoulders sit in his arms there. And, you know, like, I think proportionally, it looks really cool. Like, he's skinnier, like he should be, and I don't know. He's, like, long over here, which is interesting, and it's such a good sculpt. Oop, and I knocked out the hand for the second time. Doesn't bode well, but, you know, still like this one more. But yeah, like, I think, like, proportionally looks good, and the paint is pretty nice throughout. Sculpt is absolutely fantastic. Like, either way, like, I like the sculpt on both of these. So yeah, this is pretty good. This is a pretty good figure. I really think SH MONSTERARTS really knocked this one out of the park. You know, I'll say it because. And that your results are gonna vary, obviously, as we saw here. I think had I just stuck with this one, my review would have probably still been good, but I would have been, like, you know, a little bit disappointed in how the face turned out more than anything. Gaps, things popping out, they're problems, they're annoying, but sometimes I could live with them more. Like, if I have to look at this guy and I see his face like that, yes, I could fix it, you know, paint-wise, but do I, you know, should I? Should I have to? It's not going to, I don't know how much it changes how much I feel about the figure itself sometimes. So, you know, like, yeah, that's one of those things where, unlike some others, like, it you know, it really affects my view of the figure right now. Like, and right now is what we're talking about. I'm not reviewing a figure from the future. Like, I'm not reviewing my fixes on a figure. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll like the figure at the end of the year, you know, for my best of the year, and I'll talk about that during the best of the year. But, you know, like, I'm not, you know, when I review a figure, I review the figure that I have here. And, you know, I want to make sure, like, you see everything that I see, and in real time, you know, like, you know, like, I want to, that's why I hold my figures, and I want to, like, look at them. I'm not, you know, here to make it look fancy and do fancy photography. I'm not here for that, man. Like, I'm here to like be down, dirty, gritty, in there with the figure, and show you exactly what I'm talking about. You know, like, I don't mince words, I don't write scripts. I just talk, and we like talk about our figures. You know, that's how I roll. And I think this is a good figure. Got off on a tangent, but this is a good figure, guys. The one I'm keeping, I really like. Like I said at the very top, this might be a figure of the year for me. Like top 5 right now. It's got the advantage of coming out very late in the year, but I really like it. I really do. Oh, hey, how about the articulation? The head moves up and down. I can't look up, and I know folks might hate that, but you can't look too far up. The mouth is okay. Like, I wish it could open more. It's like, that is, The head does move nicely, though, you know, at the neck joint. So that's pretty good. It's got a nice upper body joint, which, you know, for Godzilla figures, man, I feel like, why haven't they done this, like, really high upper body thing more often? It works so well. I mean, they've done it, but, like, they've done it differently. This engineering is a lot better than they've done. It just glides on there. That's excellent. You know, you can't turn it too much, but it's, like, excellent all around. You do have a body joint here, but there, you're not getting a lot there. I think it's just to hold everything in place, basically. You can do a little side to side on that. The legs look pretty good. And again, everything is kind of, you know, has, you know, little cover joints, which I always like. You know, they always do that well. I always point that out because it is one of those things that SH does amazingly. Sometimes you get gaps, but a lot of times you don't. So I think they do that well. As you see, the knee has double joint and it's working really well. The outward motion on this figure is awesome too. Look at that. And it kicks nicely. It's got to be able to run, and this one does. And it feels so good. Have I talked about the plastic quality? Because I always do on the SH Monster Arts, and this is no different. It feels absolutely fantastic. It's just awesome. The ankle moves great too. Beautifully done. Look at that. Love it. Love it. I feel like also, just to mention, the legs on this one feel a lot, not like looser, but yeah, a lot easier to manage than this one. This one feels a little tighter. Some folks might like that, but this is not loose. It just feels good, and, you know, I'm getting a lot of nice motion out of it. And then you got the tail, of course, which works awesome. I didn't say the arms. We'll get back to the tail. The arms work really good, too. You have a bicep swivel. How about that? How about that? There's something different, but it's, you know, fantastic. The elbows work well. The wrists. So lots of great motion. I like how the shoulders kind of have like this nice room in here to work with. So that's pretty good. And now back to the tail. The tail has all the joints you might need for an SH Monster Arts. I'm not getting that same popping out at the joint I was getting on the other one, which happened right away in my unboxing. So I knew that was going to be an issue. Not saying this will never pop out because it's an SH Monster Arts, but not at the length of that one. Tail moves absolutely fantastic. You can do a lot with this tail. Yeah, I mean, that's their bread and butter. Like, you're not going to be messing with their tails. It's fantastic. Articulation is absolutely out of this world for a Godzilla figure. Quite possibly the best articulated Godzilla figure I've ever handled. And for accessories, Godzilla only comes with these, like, you know, like wide open hands, which are really nice, actually. As you can see, the paint is pretty good on the fingernails on them. So that is pretty cool. And I do think Godzilla benefits from these claws, actually. He looks even better with these. Yeah, that's even cooler. I love it. A couple of last quick notes before we move on to size comparisons. I did get the mouth to open completely. I just kind of pulled on it more, and it did open. I guess I was just being a little bit too gentle with this guy. But yeah, fantastic. You see all the sinewy bits better. You see the tongue. The tongue also articulates. I did move it a little bit there, see? So an extra articulation point, and the mouth opens a little bit more. Now, I still can't get the head to go all the way up, but that's fine. And also about the head, I was thinking about it. Maybe it does need a little bit more pink around the edges, highlight that a little bit more. Might be something to tweak if I care about it down the line. But other than that, yeah, this figure rocks. And for your size comparisons, first up here is a Godzilla Evolved with a bunch of other SH Monster Arts figures you might have in your collection, including the Kong that we're going to soon start getting stuff to equip him with, including his Beast Glove and stuff, because Gar King is about to come out, and then SHMA follows after that. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. Scar King, I think, is coming out before the end of this year. I don't know if I'll have it in time before the end of the year, but hey, we'll see what happens. If anything, it's a 2025 release for me. But for now, here's how they are together. And for another size comparison, here is the Godzilla Evolved from SH Monster Arts with some other figures you might have in your collection, including my next review, the Hayatoy's Energized Godzilla. Oh boy. And my final thoughts, first and foremost, let's talk about this figure in my hand right now. This is incredible. I absolutely love it. The sculpt work is phenomenal. The paint is really, really good. It's got maybe a couple of minor QC issues, like maybe it needs a little more pink on the head and that little blotch, on one of the dorsal fins. Other than that, it's awesome. The engineering and articulation here are probably the best in the Monster Arts line. I kid you not. Like, I love it that much. And you've seen me review a ton of these. And I have a ton that I haven't reviewed. Like, I've been dealing with Monster Arts, like, basically from the beginning almost. Like, and this is probably the tops in the line. I mean, I'm not kidding when I say that this is possibly the best of the year. We're going to find out in a few short weeks. Do stay tuned for that. We kick off the year every year with the best of the previous year, so stay tuned. It's coming. So we'll find out together if this makes it or not, but high contender for sure. Like, it is definitely a top 5. Now, that said, the other one that you saw in this review, which I've now sent back to Entertainment Earth because I'm filming this a little later, it wouldn't have made my top 20 with that little splotch on the nose, and it has other issues. Like, but that little splotch on the nose, like, again, you probably couldn't see it as good as it is, because it's there, and you see it. My eye kept going to it. It wouldn't have ranked as high because, nowhere near as high, because that stuff kind of balls me on the face. So this stuff is all subjective, and these figures are gonna vary, and I hope this review, like, illustrated that for you guys that are always, like, wondering and complaining about this stuff. Like, it's gonna vary, and, the difference between a best of the year and possibly not making a top 24 could be a little splotch on the nose, right? And this is why sometimes, you find one reviewer loving a figure and one reviewing hating the same figure. Like, how are you supposed to know? I say, watch a bunch of the reviews if you're really, truly interested in picking up a figure. Watch a bunch of it, get the aggregate of what you think is good and bad. So, but you saw 2 figures in this review, so I hope that helps you. And speaking of help, thank you to Entertainment Earth once again, really from the bottom of my heart. From the actual initial return, because I mistakenly bought 2 of these, to helping me out with the issues with my figure and allow me to open the second one and still return it. That is fantastic. Made me a fan for life, and I already loved you guys. So high recommendation for Entertainment Earth. If you want to buy this figure, my link is down below to do so. But there you go, guys. That is my review. Hope you dug it. Let me know your thoughts down below. And if you're new to the channel and want to go and sub yourself for daily content, then let me help you diversify your collection. Until next time, peace out.